honestly, I don't want to do this today. You want to come back next weekend?
We can't.
No? Oh,
Yeah, you don't want to, bitch.
All right, well, I guess that takes priority.
This is what happens when you schedule things.
Exactly.
There are other schedules that you have to be mindful of.
Hey guys, what is up? Danny back again, and we are starting a brand new podcast series today. This is Pokemon. Gotta watch them all, and I'll do a separate intro for this later because it's a little more nice and quality. But if you guys are not familiar with what this is, at the CGDannyB Direct this year, I announced we're doing a new podcast series where we were going to sit down as a crew of 4, watch every Pokemon movie, and then rank them. Talk about the things we love, talk about the things we hate, talk about the bullshittery that they get wrong along the way. And by the way, this is a PG show, so your kid out there prepared to be like, oh, yeah, Pokemon. Fuck you. That's the beginning of a YouTube video. Probably should censor the fuck.
Let them know.
But yeah, so what we'll do is we'll watch a movie every week. We'll sit here, we'll go through the story of it, the synopsis. We'll touch base on a couple different things. You guys feel free as I read through it and discuss to be like, oh, this part I hated, this part I love, blah, blah, blah. Yeah, I want you guys to be as involved as you can, so don't be afraid to tell me to shut the fuck up. But before we get started, I think we need to introduce everybody. So, let's just start here to my left. Hey, who are you, sir?
Hey there, everyone. My name is Dante, aka Shuriblur. You may know me from, well, you may not know me at all, to be quite honest with you. But my favorite luxury is long walks on the beach.
Just a fucking dating profile now.
Is that not what we're doing?
I mean, sure.
I'll have to switch my script.
I'll just let your wife and kid know in the comments. Next.
And then, you guys are familiar with me. I'm Chris. Danny and I do the soloing. We do a lot of stuff together sometimes.
So a lot of stuff sometimes.
You guys already know me. You guys already know.
Yeah, I'm Princeton, and I'm going to be the Gordon Ramsay, or I guess the Simon Cowell, because I put these movies on a microscope, so I'm very excited to break them apart and show my hatred of Pokemon. So.
All right, perfect. So before we get started into this episode, we're doing Pokemon the first movie. Obviously, the perfect place to start. The first movie, great thing, everyone loves it. But we need to do a little bit of clarification as far as our intrigue as Pokemon fanatics. So I'd like to go down the line and see what everybody's current favorite Pokemon movie is. Shut the fuck up.
So unprofessional. So unprofessional.
I'd like to go down the line and see what everybody's favorite movie is. So I'll start. Going into this, I was really excited because I have not watched Pokemon 2000 in like 3 years probably. And that has always been my favorite Pokemon movie. Watching them back, I think the newer ones, I think some are good, some are bad, some are... But 2000, no matter how... And we're recording 2 today, so breaking the fourth wall here, I've already watched 2000. And even though there's these dumb gimmicky things that I'm like, it's kind of bad, I still fucking love the movie. So 2000 currently is my favorite Pokemon movie. We'll see if that changes by the end of this. But Mr. Dante.
Well, for me, I'm also super excited to go back and watch all these movies. Funnily enough, and I'm not sure how true this is for everybody, but like I didn't get past Pokemon Forever, I think it is. The one with Suicune and Celebi.
Yep.
So unfortunately, my favorite movie is gonna have to be one of the originals, or not. Unfortunately, I mean, to be fair, it's my favorite movie. And despite the fact that I don't necessarily care for either of the 2 Pokemon that are showcased, highlighted in this movie, Pokemon, the third movie, is my favorite. I don't know, I don't remember the title. It's literally slipping my mind.
Pokemon 3, and then the subtitle would have been Spell of the Unknown.
Spell of the Unknown, yes. Then that's my favorite.
Okay.
So, having only watched the first 3 ever in my life, I have such a broad pool to pull from, but easily Pokemon 2000. I think the legendary birds were just the best part. I loved it, man. I loved all of it.
Now, before John speaks, or Princeton, when I picked you up this afternoon, you were just I'm so excited to talk about 2000 because, man, I'm going to rip it a new one.
Yeah.
You're like, I hate 2000. And I'm like, that's why this is my favorite. So I'm really excited to hear what you have to say.
My favorite's the one with Darkrai. Darkrai and Shaman.
Well, there's Rise of Darkrai.
That's what it is.
Yeah, and then there's Shaman Sky Warrior is the one with Giratina. So
I got them confused. So Rise of Darkrai is my favorite one. Darkrai was the second they showed the CGI. But that wasn't CGI. It was just a really good animation. Darkrai come up, I'm like, All right, so my sexuality changed, and I love this Pokemon. And
Who needs women? I like bestiality now.
yeah, well, it's a wraith, so it's more necrophilia. But
Okay, yeah, okay, fair.
that's my favorite movie.
We're in the safe part of this
I actually-
video, right?
I actually do like everything until Gen 5.
Okay.
So
Are we talking
it's
about the black-white split? Like,
yeah,
that's when you...
That's
okay.
when I stopped kind of like fending away. Now I saw half of Coco,
Okay.
but I stopped because the quality was so low. I'm like, no, I want to watch the thing.
it's really, yeah.
But 2000 is my least favorite because of so many like stuff that's going on. But that's for when we get to it. We'll talk about it.
Before we shit on 2000, we need to focus on...
We need to shit on the first
This,
one.
this one came out with 19, I think it was 96. I didn't write that down. But before we get into the movie, let's do some really small, quick impressions. What did you guys think going back, seeing Pokemon the first movie for the first time in whoever knows how long? What immediate impressions? Not going into too much detail. What do we
Do you want us to go in order or?
Doesn't matter. Whoever's just good.
So I recently watched the CGI one.
Okay, the
And
evolution. Yeah.
And I like this one more. Because they used the same director that did the anime at the time.
Okay.
The first 3 movies used the same director, and it felt like, you know, when you watch like My Hero, the anime, but then you watch the movie's like animation, it's like god tier. You couldn't tell the difference between the anime and the Pokemon movie because they were so good. There was no budget cut at all. All the Pokemons were drawn very beautifully. Every time I watch this movie, even though like I don't hate Gen 1, just so much pandering to Gen 1, it makes me not like the like stuff like that. I enjoyed watching it. I think it's like 7 years since I last watched it. I was still in high school, so it was more than that.
Right.
But I enjoyed it a lot, and I think that this movie out of all movies has the most beautiful message out of all of them.
I agree.
Easily the most beautiful message, and it's like one that they still like even today. I feel like a lot of people need to kind of hear again.
Yeah.
I mean, it has, and we'll probably get into it, but like one of the most memorable quotes outside of just Pokemon in general.
Right.
Going back and watching this movie is interesting for me because, like, weirdly enough, I didn't have like this huge feeling of nostalgia like I thought I would.
Okay.
Like I had a new perspective on how to take the movie, and there was things that I was critiquing. And I was like, what in the world? Why is this like the way it is? But at the same time, despite the fact that like I'm not like that 6-year-old kid in the movie theater, because I oddly vividly remember going to see this movie in the movies. I still appreciated this movie. I still really enjoyed it for what it was. So,
Quick question.
Crazy.
Yeah.
How old were you guys? Like, did you watch it when it was still in theaters, or did you watch it when it was in?
I saw it opening weekend with both my parents. It was I think it was 96, 97 whenever the movie
96,
dropped.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember sitting there and just being really excited. Yeah.
So for me, it was I didn't get to see it in theaters because I didn't know about it. I went to Blockbuster, and I used to rent like N64 games.
Yeah.
I remember going there and like, what?
What's
And then,
this?
like, yeah, and, like, I grabbed the VHS, and inside of it, somebody still left the original Mew card that came in the Mewtwo.
That's so dope.
Yeah,
So I was like-
I remember getting one of those when I went to the theater.
Yeah, and I was like,
I still have mine.
yeah,
don't.
it was one of those things
I
where
do
like I
not.
didn't know if you had to return the card to or not, so I did it, and it was amazing. I remember watching it, and I don't know if you guys remember, but you had 3 days with Blockbuster.
Right.
I watched that movie all 3 days, multiple times because it was so beautiful.
You'd be afraid you're gonna like ruin the tape and then have to rewind it. That was always my fear of Blockbuster. I'm like, I'm gonna fuck up this tape and then I have to. All right, well, tell you what. We got a few movie fun facts before we get with the plot. I took these down, not really thinking of like a format of how I'll read them. I'm just gonna read them. So, Pokemon the first movie, as we mentally decided, it was 1996. The movie grossed over $31 million opening weekend, competing against the likes of Saving Private Ryan, The Titanic, and Toy Story.
Oh wow.
So for an anime movie in the U.S. in '96, $31 million ain't half bad.
Yeah, that's crazy.
To compete against Toy Story, that's a big deal.
Yeah.
Like Toy Story was huge when it
Right.
came out.
All,
so-
Right.
all three of those are like huge.
So the thing-
at least in my opinion, movies. I don't know the actual numbers of how they
Sure.
when they came
So
out.
the thing,
but-
they're huge movies, but 2 of them don't really cater to kids.
Absolutely.
Oh,
so,
that's true.
So
Titanic
for
and Private
Pokemon
Ryan.
to be able to compete with something like Toy Story, which has a huge animation
Audience,
house, whatever.
And it was something so new, it was like CG. People
yeah,
were like,
to
"Wow,
have a
let's do
studio,
this."
that's what I meant.
Yeah.
Behind it, like it did, for Pokemon to do that good, That's
It's
pretty-
wild.
Yeah.
Because I think the only other argument here for saying Saving Private Ryan and Titanic is that no kid went into this as a 5-year-old to see it by themselves. Their parent had to bring them. So instead of the parent, yeah.
Well, we're gonna see Titanic.
I
I
wanna
want to see the Gyarados. We're seeing the Titanic.
You can pretend that there's Gyarados in the Titanic.
But as far as grossing worldwide, it did $163 million over its entire theatrical run, and just under $86 million in North America alone. So, pretty good money. Now, I wanted to take the time. I didn't get a chance to. I know Demon Slayer, the movie, just recently became the top grossing movie of Japan or something to the effect. I wanted to get a chance to compare this, so I didn't. So, if anyone out there in the comments wants to throw out those numbers, please feel free. But now, we've waited long enough. Let's talk about this fucking movie.
Okay.
So as we start, we're panning a lovely scene underwater. We're watching some bubbles and stuff. And we have a monologue. We hear what we don't know yet, but is Mewtwo in his little chamber mumbling, "I'm ready to be." So I love this line, and until I watched it now, it didn't really click. Because I sat there, it was just words as a kid. He just said things. I'm like, that's Mewtwo, I know the voice. But I'm like, oh shit, he's like ready to like be alive. And the story that we don't get in this, because it was like a Japanese radio show, like the origin of Mewtwo and the professor's daughter and all this different stuff to explain why he exists other than just a clone of Mew. But I thought that was really cool just looking back and like, oh, he's ready to be alive. That's adorable. Good for you. As soon as you pop out and just start murking everybody. But
I remember them talking about. I actually learned about that like little radio show that they did.
yeah.
And it was interesting going back and hearing that line, and also the other line where he mentions like, "Was it all just a dream?" Something
Right.
of that nature. Because with context, it's like, oh snap, like that. Okay, that's why he goes ballistic.
So when I was in Minnesota, there's a 4D theater.
Oh, did you see the Vikings?
And they had a 4D theater, and they played Pokemon. And in that scene, they did a rumble, like your seat did a
that's so
rumble.
cool.
And I was like, oh, well. Like I looked around, I was like, oh,
Yes.
what's going on? Yeah, like,
All right, let me see here. So Mewtwo wakes up in the laboratory, surrounded by scientists, and finally being the first successful experiment at cloning Mew. So we learned at this point they got DNA from Mew from an ancient slab and some, I guess it's fur, or I don't know if it's supposed to be like a bone or something that they're using to clone Mew and just try and recreate it to make it better, more powerful. For at this moment we don't know, but as the viewer we learn for Giovanni to be like, hey, I'm going to use this and have the world's most powerful Pokemon. And we learned real quick.
Which real quick, I like when I was a kid, like I was like I didn't have the appreciation for it, but going back and just seeing like, even though the scientists weren't like actually like named characters, still how much detail like they put into making them all like their own unique like character design is just. I appreciate it so much more. Even the guy that I'm sure you had in the script that says that one line.
Yeah.
It was just a beautiful thing.
Right, for sure. I love that line. And
I have a thing to say. I don't know if it's a spoiler, so I'm going to be very vague.
Within this movie, or is it?
Yes, there's a fun fact in that scene in the beginning that has something to do with a future movie. Should I wait until that movie shows
How long
up?
are we talking? Like how long?
The Genesect movie.
Nah, go for it.
Okay, so
We got like 2 years where we get
so
to.
it's been confirmed. The Mewtwo from this movie and the Mewtwo from the Genesect movie are two different Mewtwo's.
Right. Yeah.
Same thing with Mew with the Lucario movie and the Mew from here. So it shows that in the Pokemon world, not just Mewtwo's a clone, obviously, but there's multiple legendaries already that's been proven because of those two movies where you had multiple.
Which was really weird because like growing up playing the games, you're kind of taught like there is only one of this Pokemon.
Yeah.
I guess it's immortal or who knows what.
So it's not like a whole like multiverse thing. It's like all.
So some people brought up.
It's weird when you get the Sun and Moon. Yeah, it's really hard to know.
So some people bring up the Sun and Moon. X and Y, because that's when they introduce Megas. So some people are saying that there's a multiverse there because of the games, but the games are not affected by the actual anime and movie. So it's one of those things where it's weird, but there is multiple Mews confirmed, and there's two Mewtwo's because the one in Genesect is a female.
Yeah.
Are the anime and the movies connected? Do we know that?
No.
Okay.
So every time something happens in a movie, it does not affect the show in any way, shape, or form. There's no knowledge. Ash never has knowledge of the Pokemon, even though he'll use the Pokedex like on the movie, like, whoa, who's this? Like Don Fan, right? And then when he got done fighting himself, it's like, oh, what's this? And like,
Yeah.
Alright.
so
It's like the Dragon Ball movies in a
Yes.
I
sense.
was just
Yeah.
about to bring it up.
Yeah.
yeah.
Okay, I was just curious because I remember the anime does go over like Lugia. It has a Lugia episode, and there's a baby Lugia with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
So
I love that arc. I really did.
Yeah, that's why I brought that. I want to bring that out because it's like there is more than one Mewtwo.
Yeah.
And like a very popular theory is that one of the failed Mewtwo's was the one that shows up in
Yeah.
Pokemon, the whatever the fuck that movie's called.
Genesect, then the something of the something. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's in a wide.
No one cares.
But yeah, so Mewtwo pops up and basically is just like, who am I? Why am I? What's my purpose? So like, oh, we're trying to clone you and make you the most powerful Pokemon. He's like, so now I exist. Now what? And he's like, oh, we're just getting started. He's like, fuck that noise. He's just blowing everything up. Homie just starts blowing up the lab. And honestly, so I love this line. I did a nomenclature comparing the original with Evolution. And of course, YouTube and Netflix said, fuck you, and took it down. So I have the file, but it's not anywhere to be viewable.
Yeah.
But I compared the intro of these two movies.
Put it on Pornhub.
I thought about it. CGDannyB Pornhub coming soon. But so Mewtwo blows everything up. The doctor, and we've learned later, he did like a quick little recording before he died. But
yeah, which is kind of weird.
yeah, he's just like, I'm going out. So hey guys, we did a thing. Fuck, I love my kid and my his kid's dead.
Little do we know that scientist, he was the original vlogger.
I just want to know when he started doing that in the midst of everything.
Yeah.
Because that would have had to have happened when things
Yeah.
were blowing up. We don't hear
Right,
any of that in
yeah.
the recording.
We only hear the end of it, which is the line where he's like, so I absolutely love this line. So we dreamed of creating the world's strongest Pokemon, and we succeeded. And he says this with like, not a tremble in his voice, but he's like, yeah, I think we fucked up. I think we really fucked up.
Now that I'm staring death in the face.
Like it was more coming from like just a sense of like fear.
Yeah.
Like he's like, we did it.
Yeah, it's like, oh, shit. And then obviously we pan out, we're above the island, we're above the lab, and then we just see it explode. Right? And as he's sitting here in this rubble in the fire, Giovanni shows up in his helicopter. He's like, hey, so they were kind of treating you bad. Like, I mean, I hired them and all, but I'm here to help you gain your powers, control your powers, and then we can be partners. So Mewtwo's like, all right, you're the first one to say anything intelligent today, so shit.
You're the first one to give me the time of day and answer my questions.
Which real quick before, because there's something I want to talk about. So
Yeah.
like, I love how just like the differences between like how like in the manga how Mewtwo is created and how like the movie says like Mewtwo
I
is
was about to
created.
bring that up, yeah.
Because I'm not familiar with the manga.
All right, so like in like the whole thing with like the manga, Blaine was the scientist that helped work on Mewtwo. He was still working for Giovanni, so he was still like that.
Yeah.
But if I remember correctly,
So was it like a passive, like, hey, we're both gym leaders, or was Blaine like a Team Rocket?
he was like a Team Rocket. Like same thing with Surge, Sabrina, and Koga.
So
This
what happened was
this
when
was
the
touched
movie.
upon in the games briefly,
Yes.
right?
Well,
they didn't go into detail with it, but like there's
Yeah.
like,
It was like-
logs and journals
yeah.
that you can find.
So when Pokemon came out after the success of that movie,
Yeah.
they went. They're like, we need to make this into the manga. So the guy had literally 3 months to come up with a story that rivals the animated version of it.
Yeah.
And it's the origin. It's Mewtwo, but the story completely forks
Exactly.
differently. Like a lot
That's
of
dope.
what happened in the movie was catered for kids, while with the
Sure.
manga, they still cater to kids, but
The
it's a
manga
little.
gets super. I got uncomfortable a few times. So I'm like, I have to stop reading.
Yeah, because then Pokemon die
Wait,
and get like shish to fried and everything.
You mean to tell me that like 8 to 9 scientists just getting obliterated into ash is like for kids, right?
So that's
See,
actually
as
that's
a kid, I'm just like blind to it, but then like as an adult, I'm like watching Erica talking about how she needs to take out an Eevee that can just go between the Eevee evolutions.
Yeah.
She needs to kill it because it's not right.
That's
And they have like that thing where it's like in the anime, like when the antagonist is like it's like dark from like here up. She has that kind of
Oh
moment.
my
She's
God.
like over the thing, and you see Red crying his eyes. I'm like, I need to save it. But yeah, so like the whole thing was it's like I believe like Mewtwo, like there was something not like wasn't right within like in his DNA structure. So Blaine actually had to use some of like his DNA to put into Mewtwo to complete the cell structure. And there's like a whole thing where like depending how far Mewtwo was, Blaine actually got stronger or weaker.
Okay.
So like in the manga, like you see like Blaine at one point, he's rocking a Mewtwo that's like slaughtering people with spoons. It's amazing.
Also, Mewtwo was created in the mansion in the manga.
Yeah.
Which is why you have that explosion in the game.
Okay.
But in the game, they don't tell you it's Mewtwo.
Yeah,
It's just,
we're not giving that
it's just
info.
burned down, and you're just assuming
With statues
Blaine's
on it.
yeah. You're just assuming that Blaine's a fire gen leader. He probably
Yeah.
burned this shit down. I did want to say to go earlier because you mentioned the anime to the movies, and when Ash gets to I forget what city it is, you actually see the figure of Mewtwo with the armor pieces coming out in the anime. But Ash never makes the connection. Obviously, he's just what's that? And then that's it. And that's why Ash never battles Giovanni, because he's trying to get Mewtwo back, and the whole time he battles regular Team Rocket. And so there is that connection, but then technically speaking, like this movie never happened.
Right.
Yeah, there's some interesting plot timing with the anime and the movie release, because there's some things they did in the anime that were supposed to lead up to this, but because we'll get into it when we get to that part.
Right.
But let's see here. Yeah, so Giovanni's like, we'll be partners, and then of course he gives this really cool suit of armor to Mewtwo. Mewtwo's like, why are you kind of taking away my powers? Like, we're not taking them away, we're controlling them, so that way you can kind of training wheels your way into your psychic abilities. And from here, it's like, let's just have Mewtwo do all my chores. He runs out and picks up a bunch of Tauros so we can start catching them, win me some gym battles. He probably ran out to get a carton of milk or something along the way, just to be like, just while you have the time.
You're good. You have time.
Then he claps the
Can
whole...
you imagine?
Then he destroys the bricks out of Gary's teeth.
Yeah.
Boy,
Nidoking, I'm good, dog. See,
Nidoking's so weak to like, if there's ever a Pokemon for Nidoking to not go against, it's Mewtwo, the most powerful psychic type of the time.
That particular trainer invented double battles at that moment, right?
Yeah.
First of all, he cheated. First of all,
I think Team Rocket did that episode 3 when Ash is like, come on, Pikachu, and Ekans coughing like, you can't fucking do that. That's cheating. Gen 2 says otherwise, but
Which really, I really want to know how Giovanni pitched that to people to get trainers to fight it. Just if you beat this Pokemon, which no one has or knows about, you'll probably get like a boatload of money. And they're like, okay, let's get in there. Nidoking.
To be fair, I'm gonna bring this up later. Trainers have zero. They just have reckless abandon.
Oh, absolutely.
They just have a reckless. They don't fucking care.
There's also the whole like, we are Pokemon fans, so we know every Pokemon by heart. But in the Pokemon world, if you don't see it, you don't know it exists. Yeah.
Maybe you saw it in a tournament online or something.
Yeah.
You don't know.
Because the only people getting Pokédex are actually trainers, right? So the average person doesn't know. Like, they're like, oh shit, is that a PG? No. What the fuck? What's a sunbird? You know what I mean?
A big rainbow bird flying across the sky. I've never seen it before.
Which I'm saying, just imagine getting a Charizard and being like, I have the ultimate dragon Pokemon.
You take it to Oak, look what I made.
I got a dragon, and Oak's like, no, you don't got
That's
a dragon.
not a dragon.
No.
But why? Because you said so? Yeah. Basically, I'm the Pokemon professor. I made the rules.
This confirms the theory that the kids are the ones that make the Pokedex.
But yeah, so Mewtwo's getting fed up. He's like, fuck it, I'm gonna do my own thing. Obviously, after Giovanni comes in, like, no, don't worry, you work for me. We'll screw the partnership. You're mine now. You're gonna help me win battles. Mewtwo says, fuck it. Blows up his new laboratory / gym, whatever he blew the fuck up. Flies back to New Island,
which by the way,
such a weird. Go ahead.
Which, by the way, from the time Mewtwo made that decision, Giovanni started running, and then the explosion. Giovanni had no time to get out of there.
Homie should be dead, just like the scientists.
Like, I weirdly enough think of Giovanni as pretty big-brained, smart. How did he think that conversation was going to go over? Oh, you belong for me now. Oh, okay, cool.
Oh, right, cool. Well, yeah, that makes sense. I get it.
Like, I don't understand why he didn't expect Mewtwo to just freak out.
Right.
This is what caused it the first time. Let's do it again.
Maybe he's better now. He's in a suit of armor. I assume it came down to Giovanni thought, I have him constrained. He can't do anything. But
probably.
Obviously Mewtwo's like, pretty fucking strong, and change it just blows everything up anyway. So
You think this armor is compressing me? No, no. Which I still stand by. I just gotta get this in there. That should have been a skin for Smash.
Oh yeah.
But I'm very upset that it's not. But
Yeah.
we can move past that.
Well, one
Well,
day.
there's a lot of things for Pokemon. And that just comes to
Why the shinies aren't ever skins?
Yeah,
is what-
interesting things.
whatever.
Interesting things.
Right.
But yeah, so Mewtwo blows up the place, flies away, and then fun fact, in the intro of the Indigo Plateau anime, as we watch Mewtwo flying into the moon, this is the scene of Mewtwo flying away from Giovanni's base that we see in every beginning of the episode. Yeah. So yeah, Mewtwo goes back to New Island. He's like, that's it. The reign of Mewtwo will soon begin. Title card. Pokemon the first movie. Mewtwo Strikes Back. Mewtwo's out for revenge. Let's fuck up the humans. We don't need this bitch of shit.
We don't need him anyway.
Now we meet our heroes, Ash, Misty, and Brock, chilling on a cliffside, making some lunch. Ash is a tired boy. I don't want to do anything. And then Mr. Wannabe Pirates of the Caribbean man shows up, and he's like, hey, you're Ash Ketchum, yeah? Let's fucking fight. Ash is up, going at it. Misty's like, I thought you were lazy. Nah, fuck it, it's a Pokemon battle. And I just want to point out Brock's, best line in the movie. I think he gets another one in Return to Mew, but you can't find that movie anywhere, so we're not going to get to watch that one. But he's like, at least his mouth is still working after he's like, oh, Pokemon battle doesn't work. Love the line. Love it so much. I think Brock's great.
Brock was amazing.
But yeah, so Ash is like, let's smoke this pirate man. Let's have a
diving
battle.
in because I have
Let's
a
everyone.
bullshit call
I'm
I
sure
gotta
everyone's
make.
got their notes because I guarantee there's one that everybody wants to point out. Before we get too into it, fun fact: during this battle, we see the fifth ever Johto Pokemon revealed in the anime, which is Donphan. Numbers 1 through 4 are in order of Ho-Oh, Togepi, which are both in the anime, and then Meryl and Snubbull, which were in the short leading into this movie, Pikachu's Vacation.
I will mention that had me so screwed up with what I actually remember.
Yeah.
Because I think this doubles back to the theory that some people think Togepi is a first generation Pokemon.
Right,
It's
I
actually not.
did too.
And I think the anime is to blame.
Yeah.
Because he threw out a Donphan. I was like, wait a minute, we're still technically in Gen 1, right?
Yeah, this thing shouldn't be here.
Oh man.
Let's see. Yeah, that was, and then this is also the first time we see the move Rollout, which was really really cool.
Donphan's the only one that can roll.
Driplins and roll out.
Who was at that battle, Donphan?
Bulbasaur.
Bulbasaur.
I still think Donphan would have clapped them
You
cheeks.
think even with that big ass solar beam?
Yeah.
I mean, technically Bulbasaur has the type advantage.
Yeah, type of don't mean shit in the anime world. So.
I understand this, but this
I have seen
Type advantage doesn't mean shit.
That's exactly what this battle's about.
I agree with this, but this one to me makes sense compared to the next one.
Because this is the same show that has Ash and Swellow use thunder and then fucking fly like a lightning spear, and somehow Swellow never took any damage.
I'll just say when it comes to the anime, Pokemon Origins should have become the main anime and we should have gone from there, but I digress. So, as we've already said, Bulbasaur comes out, bodies Donphan, our fifth Johto Pokemon, and now we have our next round, because instead of keeping Bulbasaur out, let's switch. We have Squirtle versus Machamp, which honestly, I think was a pretty fair fight. I think Squirtle bodied this guy fairly.
No! Not at all!
Here's my thing. Ash's team, even though they're not fucking evolved except Charizard, have always been strong.
Sure.
Like, his Squirtle has the coolest thing where, when he's water and he spins, that's the coolest thing ever. Honestly, I'd rather have the Squirtle than Ash have a Blastoise.
To be fair,
That's
though,
fair.
his Squirtle was also a past gangster.
Yeah.
He did run a gang.
He was a capo.
So he knows a thing or two about fighting.
So yeah, Machamp goes down to a Bubble Beam, which, is
Well, that's also back then when moves were if you watch...
before the physical special split.
that was back in the day when all the battles were Pikachu, use tackle.
Shit,
So all the battles were one hit KO.
Basically,
It wasn't until Gen 3 where they stopped doing that.
Yeah, I noticed that, and I wasn't sure if that was just specifically
probably a budget
as the music plays. We only have so much music we can play here.
Yeah.
So I wasn't sure if it was a situation of we're just left up to our imagination that more battle happened, even though we only saw the bits that we did.
Yeah, every battle in Gen 1 all the way till the end of 2 was like that. The League changed that in Gen 2. In Gen 1, when they did the their battles, it was literally just like one Pokemon like, use Boomerang, and then the other Pokemon, regardless of typing, they would go down.
No,
And it's just
knocked his ass out.
now when a Pokemon took a hit, that was like a big deal in the first one because it's like, holy shit, he's strong.
Yeah. All right, here we go. Let's get into it. So Pirate Man gets upset and he's like, you know what? Let's 3v1 this shit. So he sends out. It's Venonat.
Trash.
Who's the other one? It's Venonat. Something.
Golem, I think.
And
is
Golem.
I only care about the Golem in this. Because Pikachu jumps up, uses Thunderbolt on all three of them, including the Golem, who.
And then Golem.
Which, by the way,
listen.
in Johto, there's a scene where Misty, Ash, Brock, and Ash are all sitting somewhere.
Yeah.
And they're making fun of Ash, and he's like, Ash doesn't know his typings. He's like, and then Misty makes a slight comment about like, he'll probably use a Pikachu on a Golem, and I was like, he's done that.
He did it. He did. And he fucking won. So obviously this Pikachu's supernatural. It doesn't belong being the way that it is, but it's a god tier. This guy, he loses. I guess he only had 5 Pokemon with him. And then we get that wonderful, oh no! I kind of wanted that to be my ringtone. I was going to set it up. But, and we have Team Rocket watching from the side. Oh, what's going on with the twerp and everything? And meanwhile, throughout this entire fight, we have these little camera shots from a Firo above. Like, what's going on? This trainer looks pretty good. We should maybe invite him to a special event with a mysterious host that we don't know who it is. Wink, 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 wink.
This is where Dragon Ball.
We totally don't know.
The Tournament of Power.
Yes.
Was Mewtwo.
Listen, keep your other anime shit out of here.
Hey.
So they sit down, they have their lunch. Beautiful, majestic Dragonite with his tiny little wings comes flying in, gives him the invitation to the ultimate super trainer something, world's greatest Pokemon trainer. I want to have a battle with you. Come to my island. They accept. Brock recognizes the little lady on this hologram. Like, she looks familiar. I wonder who she is. We get that a couple times.
What a fucking simp.
Good thing we're not on Twitch. I'm sorry.
She's really cute for being so small or something like
Check
that.
that.
No, she's really small, but she's really cute. Like, I was like, what?
Ooh, out of context, that might be bad.
But yeah, so because I don't know if you put in notes, but the Team Rock, like Jesse, James, and Meowth,
Stopping the
they
Dragonite.
did not miss any days at the gym. Like, they're like, y'all are catching gym badges. We're just catching these weights.
Which is why
I'm
They
just
stopped
saying.
that Dragonite with a frying pan.
I'm just saying, that is Dragonite's weakness. We all don't know this yet because a frying pan Pokemon does not exist.
Yeah.
So because of this right here, it's the reason they're able to deal with Beware's bullshit and Sun and Moon. Because they've been if you can stop a Dragonite using extreme speed with a goddamn cast iron skillet, trust me, you can deal with a Beware.
Which is why that Dragonite disappears for the rest of the movie. I mean,
Yeah, I was gonna say, he's gone now.
Yeah, he got a concussion and went.
Yeah, because it wasn't even like skipping way ahead. Like when Mewtwo takes all his Pokemon and just like Dragonite's nowhere to be seen. So like,
Dude.
I don't know what kind of fodder this Dragonite is. Where it's like I could use you, but I actually have a Scyther and a Nidoqueen.
He was like, nah, you got stopped by a frying pan. You're off the list, buddy.
And he just like punched him. Like,
Dragonite starts like joining. He's like, no, you stay. You're back.
You don't get to
go.
Can you clean the base while we're gone? We'll
be
come
back.
get you.
We're not gonna go fight. I swear. We're just gonna go take a walk.
All right, let me see. I'm going to summarize a bit. So the tank, yeah, we're going to do it. Let's go to the Pokemon Center. We'll sail off to this new island place, have our special battle. We meet all these lovely trainers who have all been invited to the New Island Challenge. And we meet our 3 other important trainers in the movie, Fergus, Nisha, and Corey.
So the guy,
Were these
guy-
names ever said?
Not in the movie. I found them on Cerebi.
You're making
so
things up.
the
I found them
guy
on Cerebi.
with the Gyarados, his voice is so goddamn annoying.
Oh, I can get to New Island anyway. Oh, my Pokemon are water types. We'll just swim to that island. Yeah,
Spoiler
Fergus is
alerts.
something.
Spoiler
They're
alerts.
not.
False.
Which is just like how like the whole time like that one like the one sea experts just like, yeah, there's dangerous storms out there. If you go, you will die.
Yeah.
And then their chances are just like,
No.
no, I think I will go. And she's like, well, that's just what sets them apart from everyone else.
They're just too good. Can't stop them.
Those are the real trainers we need to be looking to. And it's like, You just said they were all gonna die.
Coming from Miranda, who has some serious, like, important character design and is on the screen for maybe 10 seconds.
Right.
She's like...
She has an amazing voice, though.
She does. She's top tier, like, minor waifus. Let's go. I'm all about Miranda.
Yeah.
But of course, our trainers, fuck that. Storm, it's just rain. We don't care. Everybody starts to take it off.
This movie is
There's a
actually
very fun fact here.
Okay.
So there's the guy with the Gyarados who obviously gets some Gyarados.
Yep,
right?
Fergus.
And right next to him, there's a bitch with a Pharaoh. And she's going the opposite fucking
Yes,
direction.
I didn't even see.
I'm gonna find the picture really quick.
Make sure you
And
send it
I'm
to me,
gonna
man.
screenshot it. I
That's
have it here.
amazing.
That's why I've been on my phone because I've been trying to find the picture.
Well, she thought she could avoid the storm because if she went the opposite way,
She went around the
other
fucking
side. That's hilarious.
Or it's a power move, and she's like, all of you down there, I'm up here. And she's just like circling around them.
Yeah. Well, then we have Corey who does the same strat, just goes the right way, which is. Oh damn!
Yeah, it's going the opposite direction. So everybody's going this way, and then I was like, wait, hold on.
And then
I was
Garrett's
like,
like,
what?
She,
And also,
Oh,
you
see,
don't
I-
see her. She doesn't make it, by the way.
yeah, but obviously a lot of
She
you see a
dies.
lot of trainers leave that don't make it, and I assume
got
yeah,
struck by lightning.
before the
I
big
see.
reset, they probably died. That Pharaoh didn't have Volt Absorb. That was his issue.
That was the real issue. It was not a randomizer. It was not a
Um,
randomizer.
So yeah, our team, they're like, we gotta get to New Island. And then Misty, the voice of reason, like, Ash, dumbass, none of our Pokemon can do that because apparently we can't evolve anything. So they're like, well, I guess we can't do it. And of course, for plot convenience, we have our lovely Vikings, who we have no idea who these people are, first time showing up.
They're
We're
from
like,
Minnesota.
they're from Minnesota.
Minnesota.
We have this little boat. We'll take you to this place because we want to get there too, whatever. So we go sailing down. Brock says, hey, I didn't know Vikings still exist. And then Ash with the perfect line of, and I didn't get this as a kid. I don't fucking know football.
I didn't know until I moved to Minnesota, and I
Yeah.
was like, the
Oh!
Minnesota Vikings! And I was like, what?
But yeah, totally didn't get it. And then Ash is like, yeah, they mostly come from Minnesota, and it's a football joke.
So
which-
United States confirmed.
Yes, yep. Pokemon takes place in the U.S.
Or at least the NFL's confirmed.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah.
The USA, like, I don't know what fucking Minnesota is. But aside from this, the other great joke is Jesse, where they're like, hey, stroke, yeah, stroke. And I think I'm going to have one. Oh my God.
It's a good
That's
line.
clever. That's clever. I love that one. But yeah, everyone, we're sailing to this island because our Pokemon aren't strong enough. As we're like halfway-ish there, maybe, the storm picks up and everybody gets drenched. And oh my God, it's Team Rocket. Who the fuck had any idea?
I didn't.
None.
I didn't. No, I didn't. It really
Biggest,
threw me off.
that was like one of those like top 10 biggest plot.
I knew.
Top 10 biggest anime plot twists.
Yeah.
That was it.
Just so, welcome to Watch Mojo. And-
Yeah, that's actually a gag that I love, and
Yeah.
even as like the show went on,
that they don't recognize.
yeah, like obviously as a viewer, we're like, that's just in James,
Yeah.
but like I love how amazing their costumes are
Uh-huh.
and like everything, and it's just
So
the
much.
fact,
It's just
the
something
fact they
different
put
every
that
time.
into the movie, not once but twice. I was like, this is beautiful.
It's great.
Yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, storm picks up, knocks everybody out of the water, and then because we couldn't use our Pokemon to get here in the first place, let's quickly pull out Squirtle and Staryu. We swim to the island, we make it safe and sound. Team Rocket nowhere to be seen yet, but our magical
Quick
hostess.
question on that.
Yeah,
Misty has a Starmie, right?
I think so. She
I
should
think
have a
so.
Starmie.
I think the thing here is that there were strong waters. And they're not like evolved Pokemon. Like a Gyarados can swim this shit like
Yeah.
nothing. I don't think a Starmie can.
But
But
Staryu
she
did.
still used Staryu.
Sorry, that's what I meant. I meant to say Star. Yeah, Star. I meant to say Staryu.
Yeah.
I can't swim that good, but she
Yeah.
still. Cause she does she have Starmie or
I
anything?
think she has
I
both.
feel like she has both. When
The
we
thing is,
when we
she
first
does have both,
when we
yeah,
first
yeah.
get introduced to her.
I remember the
Yeah.
gym battle with Ash. She has Starmie.
Yeah, she has both.
I can't think of a moment in the show when she left that she had. Like, not saying she doesn't. I don't remember one. So
She
maybe
also
she
has
had
a
Green
Goldeen.
Starmie?
She also
She
has
does have Goldeen, which
Yeah,
we see in 2000.
This is one of those things where it's just weird to me because I'm like, I feel like she should have Starmie, but then again, this is also the point where I thought Ash had a Lapras and he doesn't. So
Right.
He doesn't have. Well, he doesn't have it yet. 'Cause he has-
not yet.
Yeah, because
Not
he's
yet.
on Orange Island.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're not, yeah. Because this would be right between him getting his 8th.
No, he has a guy who's 8th badge.
Hold on. This is. He comes back to Palatown?
This is
It's after Blaine.
no,
No?
no. This is after Blake.
Where does this take place?
This here. Let me find it.
Yes, because I thought this was before the league.
No, because he doesn't have. He's missing a couple of his key Pokemon that he caught in this gen. But let me.
because I know he doesn't bring out Pidgeotto, which that would explain if he has Pidgeot. Well, he wouldn't have Pidgeot because Pidgeot would have been left in the forest, which is still before the league, I think. I don't know. I wasn't really clear on it, but while you look that up, so yeah, we get to the island. Lady shows up, and Brock's like, you know what? You do look familiar. You're the missing Nurse Joy from the Pokemon Center. She's like, nah, I've been here my whole life. I don't know what you're talking about. Oh, okay, never mind. So we make our way, and throughout this whole thing, we have little snippets of Team Rocket showing up, climbing up the building, all kind of just
Using Weezing as a gas bag?
Use gas bag. They make their way inside, kind of get into like the secret lair. We'll get there then. But yeah, Ash, the team, they come in, and the lovely hostess is like, hey, take all your Pokemon out of the Pokeballs. Ash, the team kind of sort of does. Like, Geodude doesn't come out, Onix doesn't come out.
No, I'm actually wrong. It takes place, Ash already has all the badges.
Okay, so he has 8 badges, but not the league yet.
So it's between episode 64 and 74. So he's done all the badges. He's just waiting to start the league.
So he's already had like Pidgeot.
Yeah.
Pidgeot's gone.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because that was the note I took, girl. Like they took out most of their Pokemon. Ash brought out everyone at some point except for Pidgeot or Pidgeotto.
That's weird because Ash didn't use a couple of his key Pokemon.
Like which other ones are you thinking?
I'm going to Cerebi right now.
Okay.
Too.
Yeah, because I
But
know
at
he
that
doesn't
point,
get
he would
some.
still have like Muck and such.
Yeah, because Muck would be with Oak, but
he doesn't
would
take him back out anyway until that one battle.
Because Krabby and Kingler he doesn't bring out until the league.
Yeah.
So
And then you have Snorlax.
Which Snorlax I think is also Orange Island.
Because he caught. What's it?
I think so. Because I think it's one of the first things he gets.
He gets
that he
after
gets Lapras.
Yeah. Okay.
So yeah, Pokemon come out, let's go in, and we meet the other 3 trainers yet again, Fergus, Tori, and Nisha. And they're like, check out my team. So this is our first big, let me see here, I got the note, imagine do the thing. Pokemon are cool. Cool. I call these the Bumbled Blunders. So this is where we have some fuck-ups in this first movie, which everyone notices, but you know, we all call them out anyway. So Corey's like, I flew over here on Pidgeotto's back. And he clearly has a Pidgeot in front of him. Corey's dumbass, doesn't know what
So that's actually a, not only is that translation error, that's also, some of the translators were not Pokemon fans.
Okay.
So they were just translating what was given to them. So like, it's actually a mistake from the Japanese directors and writers who sent the information over, and when you translate the name, they got the wrong. It sent the site there.
I have another note for that.
Okay, that was not
BS on it, but
that was not the that was the translators themselves. That was not the director.
And then next we have Fergus, who introduces all of his Pokemon as water types, but he's got a Nidoqueen in there.
He's got an imposter among them.
I mean, if anything, Nidoqueen's weak to water, so.
Right, so he's like, yeah, I swim over in this.
But Nidoqueen can you surf?
It doesn't matter. I mean, Rhyhorn can learn surf, but he's 4 times weak. Like,
but you can ride a wave if you can surf.
They just give any Gen 1 Pokemon whatever HMs they want, because.
that was wild territory.
So the team, they mingle, they get to know each other a little bit, and then all of a sudden the lights go dark, except for one giant pillar of light in the center of the room around a spiral staircase, where we see none other than the ultimate trainer himself, Mewtwo, descend down from the heavens. Now, another fun fact. This was supposed to be the very first moment we saw Mewtwo in this movie. What they intended to do was the 3 episodes leading up to this movie, the episodes ended with little snippets which were parts from this intro, seeing the lab blow up. Everything we've seen in Mewtwo up to this point were part of the anime. But because of the Porygon episode where it got put on hiatus in Japan, none of those things premiered until after the movie.
Because the anime got put on hold for 4 months.
Right.
Because they have to do a bunch of legal stuff that they have to do.
So they had to, all that stuff that was supposed to be revealed to lead into the movie, then like, well now we can't show it, so they spliced it up, put it as the intro to the movie. So now we had an introduction of who Mewtwo was. But in the movie, up till this, we would not have seen Mewtwo until he descended from that pillar, which I thought kind of would have been kind of cool.
Oh, absolutely.
But it's like, yo, he's the guy in the box. I didn't even see him yet. But yeah, so that's a fun little fact there. So the trainers start freaking out. A Pokemon can't be a Pokemon master, no way. Fergus gets pissy, has Gyarados attack, and it all goes downhill. Our trainers start fighting. They start, let's throw hands. It's Mewtwo's like, I'm psychic. You can't fucking touch me.
I want to bring up briefly that this is the first part of the movie where I'm just like, wow, a lot of. I noticed it earlier in the movie too, but now there was a particular line where I was like, wow, a lot of the talking is a bit redundant.
Yeah.
Because the girl trainer says, he's a copy, and then immediately after the guy's like, he's a clone. I'm like, we've been established this already. already. I'm pretty sure Mewtwo like introduced himself as the clone of Mew.
He also has like the deepest voice when he says he's a clone.
I was like, have you guys not been paying attention? Like,
obviously they do it because the guy has a fucking Pidgeot. I'm getting upset with Corey here.
and then Brock immediately is like, "Who are you?" And I was like, "He just said it."
So yeah, after Mewtwo does some little throwing around, treating him like trash, they're like, yeah, then you wouldn't be against a real match then, would you? And Mewtwo's like, ooh, a challenge. Let's go. Now at this point, Team Rocket's already made their way to the underground laboratory that Mewtwo's created from where he was born, along with his clones.
So Mewtwo clearly has some type of engineering background. Because I promise you, he didn't hire scientists for this. They weren't alive. So this shows that Mewtwo can fucking do engineering.
I like to imagine him with like a utility belt and then like with those 3 little fingers holding like a wrench and just
He's like this. He's like, fuck, I shouldn't have killed those humans.
Because obviously he can mind control humans with Nurse Joy, which we're about to see in a minute.
Yeah.
He could just be like, before I kill you, make me another one. All right, let's go back. But obviously it has something to do with whatever illusions he can do that become reality or whatever. So yeah, after this we have our fun little battle. Mewtwo summons his Venusaur, Charizard, and Blastoise.
You're wrong.
Am
They're
I?
called their canon is Blastoise 2, Charizard 2, and Venusaur 2.
Okay, so I remember this because there was this fucker in elementary school that fought me to death because he told me that I knew that these were the 2s, the sequels, obviously Mewtwo, Charizard 2, right? But this kid was like, yeah, Charizard, Blastoise, and Venusaur evolve again. And the only difference is they get stripes. And he's fighting me.
Also,
like,
could have been Smash costumes.
Yeah, they could have.
Just putting that out there.
Listen, Nintendo, I'm not even going to start. But yeah, so this kid fought me saying like they evolve again. Yeah. Because the movie showed Charizard 2, Blastoise 2, etc. We know.
So like this is the middle step between what should happen between megas? Is that the idea?
Yeah, so before they mega, they just get some stripes like, ooh, he's doing something. But yeah, so at this point, Ash hasn't brought out Charizard yet. He's like, obviously Charizard still doesn't listen to him. It's that whole obedience thing that fucks him in the league. But we have Shell Shocker.
Shell Shocker.
Brute Root, which I totally forgot.
You can't name your Pokemon Shell Shocker, by the way, in the games because there's not enough
No
characters.
space.
That's the coolest name for
she committed the sin and she dropped the E and just put the R.
Shell Shocker. Brute Root, which I honestly forgot about, and I think from on, if I get a Venusaur and Soul Link, it's Brute Root.
Yeah.
Is this the first time that we see a trainer with, other than Gary, but
with a nickname Pokemon?
No, with a Venusaur or with a fully evolved starter.
I mean, a trainer, not Ash himself.
No, not Ash.
I want to say
I don't remember anybody having a Venusaur.
Yeah, not sure, because I think the only Venusaur we saw up to this point as like a proactive character would have been the Venusaur Bulbasaur evolution episode.
Yeah.
Same for Blastoise. The only we saw was when it was like he was sick, stuck in the shell, and I think that's the case. I don't have any notes on that, but I'll assume.
Dude, I'm just saying, I really enjoyed how like Ash is just like, I don't have a name for it, but go Charizard!
Yeah,
like,
he
he's
may
kind
not
of
have a
like,
nickname,
oh, well,
but
I should have given you it. But,
He sounds so salty about
Yeah,
it.
it's like, damn, I didn't know we could nickname these fucks. Shit.
but that fight with Charizard, I like how Charizard comes out and he's just like, yeah. Oh, there's smoke. All right, let's catch
Where
it.
there's smoke, there's fire.
And then immediately, like that fight in the sky, I love it. Preceded by the grab seismic toss right into the ground. Like I'm like, that's actually really nice because Charizard gets put in his place.
Fun fact: during the battle between the 3 final evolutions of the starters, Blastoise and Venusaur get absolutely bodied. Charizard's the only one that actually stands a chance in the fight. But a fun thing that happens in the middle of the Charizard fight, as they're battling in the upper sky, we have a nice little moon in the background. This moon alludes to the moon that shows up in the anime every time Ash's Charizard uses Seismic Toss and starts spinning them around and around and then throws them down. It is pretty dumb, but it's iconic. And so that was a fun, because we didn't do that in the movie, but obviously it was like a way to allude like, oh, that moon that happens at Seismic Toss, fuck, someone's going down. And then we get a little...
Someone's getting yoked.
And of course, it's our hero's Charizard. And I love this moment. It's another one I do in the comparison video where like in Evolution, Charizard kind of goes like, Arr! But like this movie, Charizard has like that really weak cry where he's like, I want to keep going, but I can't. And then finally collapses. I'm like, fuck, that shit.
Right.
That hurts.
That's deep.
Well,
That's right.
because like normally like in the anime, it's like when Charizard hit the field, you're like, all right, one, he's not even gonna listen to Ash.
Yeah.
But he's also there to demolish somebody.
Yeah.
Well, I think part of it's because they went out of their way to show that like just because you have a strong Pokemon doesn't mean you're gonna win. And I think Charizard was a great way of showing like I'm stronger than you, so fuck you, I'm not gonna listen to you. But in this moment right now, I need you and you need me. And I think that was the beautiful thing about the here, because Ash didn't listen until almost like Ash didn't listen to the league. Actually, no, he didn't. He just doesn't fucking listen.
Yeah.
This is the first time that Charizard does listen.
Yeah. Just almost sort of.
He kind of listened against Blaine, kind of.
Yeah.
But it wasn't because of Ash. It was because
of
like,
Magmar.
He's like, fuck this guy.
Yeah.
I'm stronger than him. So
Yeah, and even up to this, like I think we still struggle a bit through Johto until we get to the Charcific Valley, and then that's when it's like let's separate, and then Charizard becomes faithful once we get to 3, and that whole thing happens. But so Mewtwo wins. He's like, obviously I'm strongest, and as a prize, I'm gonna take all your Pokemon. So he gets these cool magical black eyeball-looking Pokeballs, which I wish were in the game or
Yu-Gi-Oh
somewhere.
balls.
The Yu-Gi-Oh balls, the Millennium Pokeballs, and just starts snatching up all the Pokemon. He catches everything in the room with the exception of Togepi.
Meowth and Pikachu.
And yeah.
Plot twist: Pikachu doesn't go into a Pokeball, but gets cloned anyway.
Yeah, it's I saw it as a note. I'm like, that isn't relevant, but it's technically the first time we ever see Pikachu go into a Pokeball.
It could also catch other Pokeballs. Do we want to make?
Yes. It's just like, even inside your Pokeballs.
And then
It's the original 2-factor authentication where you just double check to make sure you have them. As these Pokemon are flying around, we have this staircase chase scene with Pikachu using Thunder Shock and breaking like all these Pokeballs, and they just keep coming. Finally he gets caught, they dive, Ash tries to save Pikachu, and chases him down this really cool under pillar slide thing that we get, which is fun. And then we run back into Team Rocket, they're watching all these Pokemon come in getting scanned, and this is where we have our next bumbled blunder, where they're announcing the Pokemon on the screen, where we have Dugong, Vileplume, and then Scyther, but they call it out as Alakazam. So that's a fuck up. Again, this is what, so I saw in some post somewhere that in an interview about the movie, they had announced that, it was a translation error, but instead of fixing it, they left it alone so that kids like us at the time would have been like, that's not Alakazam, that's Scyther, and give us that moment of like, I'm smarter than Pokemon.
That's smart.
I kind of want to call bullshit on that, but I'll allow it.
You know, right here, this is every time I watch this scene, I'm like, so why is Team Rocket not grabbing these Pokeballs? No,
Right.
and getting the fuck out.
Yeah.
And they're so wary about Mewtwo that like, from this point forward, Team Rocket plays no role in the finish of this movie.
Yeah.
They could have easily grabbed like 7 Pokeballs, put in them on,
Bye.
get the fuck out. The movie will still play out the way it is, except trainers will be missing Pokemon.
Yeah.
And you just go like, hey, Mewtwo, what happens? I don't know, bro. My
You
people fucking killed them. I don't know.
And you have Fergus out there like, my Nidoqueen, my Golduck.
So, okay, all my
Anyone see my Gyarados? And
I
it's
mean, but I mean, with the very end of the movie and how it ends, though, that would have been,
Weird,
we'll get to that anyway.
And then the other mistake is that as we're seeing some of the clones spawn in, we have Meowth who calls out Sand Slash as a Sand Shrew.
Yeah, no, I
Not
mean,
her.
I love him, but
That's
she's
a-
not in there.
I think that's an easy mistake to make, though.
Yeah, which that one I see with more as like the Pidgeotto thing than Alakazam Scyther. But still a blunder. We're calling it out. No ifsies, butsies. That should be in duplication. Shadow Ball. Okay. So yeah, Ash chases after all the Pokemon, comes in, absolutely bodies this machine by biting it and all kinds of shit, but not before it can clone every last Pokemon. And then Mewtwo decides, let's call him the battlefield. All
That's why
of Mewtwo's
Ash
clones.
wins, by the way. You know that, right?
'Cause
he
he bought
has
it.
the only dark move.
Cool.
Well, but
Oh, God, I hate you so much.
that's great.
That's why Ash comes out victorious.
That's amazing. So yeah, Ash breaks this machine. All the clones march into the battlefield.
Which
Mewtwo's
is
like,
one of the most badass scenes in the movie.
As they come marching
because
in?
the music, as like they're marching in. Oh,
yeah, it's
so good.
Amazing. But before we get the originals, the clones come in. Mewtwo's like, all right, cool. I have all my shit. It's time for you guys to fucking die. And then that's when the wall blows up, and Ash comes in like, I won't let you.
With
And
his
then-
fucking team.
Yeah.
Let's go.
It's-
Mewtwo? No. Ash 2.
Yeah.
Well, you can't continue
Yeah.
because I think you're gonna bring it up, and
This
I have
gonna be
to, I
a
have to
great
commend
moment.
him for this.
This is gonna be a great
Okay.
moment.
So Ash comes out and he's like, you know, Mewtwo, you're real sick of your shit. And he's ready to start fucking throwing hands. Ash just charges in, goes to sucker punch him, and Mewtwo's like, no, I have this invisible, fuck off. And Ash gets laid out, he's like, let's go for round 2. And then gets launched into the fucking sky.
So my favorite part is
Yeah,
that
you know
Danny-
what? He's like, I rolled in with these. Fuck these Pokemon. It's you and me, mano mano.
So
I'm
my
a
favorite,
normal type, bitch.
my favorite type is that my favorite thing is that Danny put Ash decides to rush Mewtwo and try to lay him out. The way you wrote that.
Bro,
I write, when I take these notes, I write them like nomenclature. I'm like, this might be funny to say, but obviously I'm not going to sit here and just,
Yeah.
after some pre-victory monologue, it's
Ash gets
short.
tossed away like a trash bag.
I mean, I commend him because he's like, you know this thing that literally just yoked a Gyarados
Yeah.
without breaking sweat. I'm gonna throw hands with
He's like,
him.
I might as well try, right?
Once again, reinforcing the fact that trainers give zero fucks
Yeah.
about anything.
Right. So it's like at that point, it's like what's stopping? Like when they're like, no, my Pokemon, you can't feign it, and then it's like you have like I don't for like example like a Machamp just like bottom hands like holding something down, just punching the crap out. What's stopping the trainer from just going in there and just spear tackling?
Right.
That's the Pokemon that I'm hoping we eventually get to. Is that once you run out of Pokemon, you have to throw hands.
Right.
You are the last defense.
All right. I'm supposed to white out right now, but let's go.
That's why you lose money at the end. Because
I
technically you
got
get mugged.
I have an Ultra and I got a Master. Let's go.
I only got $3,000. Let's make this quick.
All right, so Ash tries to fight, gets bodied, launched in the sky. Now we're seeing him go flying at this like stone pillar, which should absolutely shatter his spine.
Yeah.
But out of nowhere, we get this lovely little pink bubble. Like, what the fuck is this? And
Okay.
we finally see Mew show up to do something in this movie other than float in some water and some bubbles.
And ride down a fan, which
That's
is
true.
like,
I did
which
take
is
notes
the
on
cutest
it.
fucking thing.
It was really fucking cute. Where he's like, oh, some pillar. As Mewtwo starts to storm, Mew's like, some shit's going down. I better check it out. So we see Mew pop up periodically, but not for anything plot relevant.
Like it was like Team Rocket when they were on their way out of the cloning room.
Yeah.
You were just floating behind it.
Yes.
I think Meowth was like the only one in the room who never called it out. Like, what's that? Like he's just like like, yep, no, this
Wait
is
a minute.
normal. That big Pokemon with us the whole time.
Okay, sure. Don't let that happen. So yeah, after this, they start kind of squaring up. Mew and Mewtwo are like, oh, now let's fucking go. Other fun fact, this is the first time we ever see the move Shadow Ball.
And Rapid Spin.
And Rapid
Roll Out.
Spin. I did
Roll
skip
Out.
the Rapid Spin, yep. So,
Roll Out,
yeah,
yeah.
Roll Out with Don Fan. So that was cool. And then from here, Mewtwo and Mew start flying around the arena, fighting each other, throwing Shadow Balls, throwing Psychics, doing whatever kind of shit they're doing. And they have their little dialogue of like, you know what? Just because you have modified Pokemon doesn't mean they're the best. Obviously, a Pokemon's true strengths from inside. Mewtwo's like, cool, I'll turn off sweat mode and let's just fucking go at it.
I feel like this is this entire like situation is just commentary on casuals versus competitors.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
Somebody's like, I don't play online. I play my team in game. I'll pick my starter, my bird, and then we'll fight.
Mewtwo's like, I've EV trained all of my Pokemon.
They have perfect IVs.
Yes.
Nothing can beat them.
You should see the room with the bodies of the ones that didn't make it.
Had to get the EV somewhere.
And also my other favorite thing about this scene like coming up is just like we've seen battles where just like Pokemon use like their abilities, like they're using flamethrower, hydro pump. Like none of the Pokemon in this fight are doing any of that.
Yeah.
They're just throwing hands.
They're just actually just hitting each other. Like, what can we do? It's interesting because I saw it. I didn't really know what to think of it. Because I was like, maybe it's just that's a lot of animation to do rather than making a Pokemon move.
I think that's what it ultimately comes down
I
to.
cried at two scenes. Not the iconic scenes that everybody's gonna think. I
Sure.
cried at the two Psyducks fighting.
Uh,
I don't know why. So at the time, Psyduck was my favorite Pokemon. My first Pokemon that I ever caught. And when I played Pokemon Blue or Red, I can't remember which one the first one was. I think it was Blue.
Yeah.
Was the Psyduck because I didn't know you catch Pokemon.
Yeah.
I thought you just got your one, right? And that's it. Because prior to this, I played Dragon Quest 1, where you play with one character, right, through the whole game. There's no party system. So I played Pokemon, and I remember actually because I didn't know how to fucking read. I remember hitting like a button, and you see this animation, and I was like,
What's that?
and I caught a Psyduck, and that Psyduck followed me for multiple games. And it was one of those things. No, I didn't. That's a different Psyduck that I was thinking about. But it was one of those things where Psyduck became my favorite because I was like, oh, you can have more than one. Okay. And I was like, oh, that explains the slots. So I could probably catch 6. So because of that, when I watched that scene as a kid, I remember crying, and my grandma's trying to figure out what the fuck's going on. She's blind, so she thinks I'm being like one of my cousins bullying me or something. And I'm like, oh, Psyduck, and like, she's like, the what? And like, I have to say Psyduck like in Spanish, and it's like the Psyducks, and she's like,
Pokemon, grandma.
she's like, all right. She just goes like, hey, stop fucking with John. Let him be. She didn't know what I was saying, so like, so I cried at that scene, and then I cried at the Meowth scene.
Yeah,
obviously.
that's a good one. Yeah.
The Meowth one, yeah.
But yeah, so teams start fighting, Pokemon throwing hands. Everybody just wants to fight except for Pikachu's like, man, we should really knock this shit out. And during this whole scene, we have probably one of the most iconic songs in any Pokemon movie ever, which is Brother My Brother, which I could sit and play in the car over and over and over and have the lyrics down pat. Anytime I see those memes where it's like, gun to your head, there's one song you have to sing, lyric perfect, what is it? I'm like, Brother My Brother from Pokemon the first movie, let's go!
Pokemon theme song.
Love the song so much.
It's really good.
Yeah. So yeah, this whole time Ash is like, I gotta stop some stuff, but I'm way up here, so he's slowly gotta climb down this building. Every time he's probably breaking his ankles, shifting something in his spine, something to get down there.
I mean, he's immortal, so...
It's true, he's immortal. But yeah, Pikachu's running through here trying to figure out what do I do, I just don't want to get involved. And he runs into his little rival, and they're like, well, let's go. And Pikachu starts slapping
that Pikachu was not fucking playing. Out of all the Pokemon that were there, he was the most aggressive. He was using thunder moves. He was actually beating the fuck out of Pikachu.
Yeah.
Here's the thing. When you're in a fight and your opponent's like, I don't want to fight, you don't keep going. This guy said, fuck you, buddy. If I don't fucking kill you, he will. That's what happened with that Pikachu.
Someone's going down. It's
Whoever catches that Pikachu, I promise you, they're going to win every fucking league they're in.
Yeah.
Because of how aggressive that Pikachu was.
By the way, since we briefly touched upon it, Meowth's clone, since all of Mewtwo's clones are technically superior, Meowth's clone is inferior, right?
He still walks on like all fours and doesn't speak. Yeah.
Because it doesn't
I
speak.
guess it would technically be. It's probably better combatively.
I was going to say, if it's superior, it's probably going to be battle-wise.
Yeah.
Because of...
I don't know. If my Meowth could walk and talk, I think I want that
I think that
over one that can battle.
Yeah. Bro, have you not seen Meowth use Payday and he just like reaches in and like fucking throws? I want the clone one. Trust me. Like,
Meowth typically, because I was thinking about that. Meowth typically, when it comes to Team Rocket, they kind of did an episode where he doesn't battle, right? Like he's very terrible at it or something like that.
Yeah.
now recently he has changed that.
One.
Recently, as of Gen, I want to say 6, they kind of changed that.
Okay.
Where now he has like the claws that actually do come out.
Yeah.
Instead, and they're kind of alluding to him having Shadow Claw eventually.
Ooh.
Because like I read somewhere that like when they had the picture where every season his claws are getting longer, and in the anime when they do Shadow Claw they do the they exaggerate it, but usually those Pokemon already have big claws. So Meowth might be getting Shadow Claw eventually.
Yeah. Dope.
Cool.
Yeah. Finally fucking do something. See, as the battle goes out, we finally see our two Meowths meet, which is what made John cry. They both pull out their little claws.
Like a bitch.
Yeah. And they're just like, I almost made a clawful mistake here. And they're like, we don't need to fight. And of course, we get this amazing line from Meowth. Maybe we ain't so different. We have the same oath, the same air, the same sky. And maybe if we start looking at what's the same instead of what's different, well, who knows? And
just saying, you sound like Joey Wheeler when you say that all the time. I was very confused. Like, are you doing that on purpose?
I don't know how to be a Brooklyn cat.
You just did it.
So
that line is very beautiful, and I think this is one of my favorite moments from all the movies combined.
Yeah.
Because the creators were not afraid to get real, right? And I think it's one of those things where like that's a real message. I think like this movie, and obviously there's the next line that's even fucking deeper.
Even better,
And this movie is one of those moments where like as a parent you can sit down with your kid and you can say, I want him to watch this kind of shit.
This is important.
Like this is the kind of shit I want my kid to watch and enjoy the Pokemon aspect, but enjoy the message. And I think that a lot of shows miss the mark when it comes to doing this because it's either about the visuals and they spent like very little on the message. This movie doesn't have just one message; it has multiple messages
Yeah.
go out through a movie. And I think that having ideally your villain say this, because Meowth is antagonist.
Yeah.
It's very beautiful to see that the
Really
villains
hits it
are
home.
not. Meowth is human, essentially, and I think that was very beautiful the way they did it in the movie. Watching it again for me, it was like it meant more now as an adult because with experiences that you have as an adult, and you see how the world's not as black and white as what everybody likes to think. There's a gray line, and hearing Meowth say something like that, it's very powerful to hear. So.
Yeah, it was. I love that, and it was one of those things again as a kid. Like, I could feel the tone shift, where like obviously something important was happening, but the words didn't really hit. Like he said the earth, he said sky, he said air. I guess it's a Pokemon thing. But obviously seeing them go to fight and then stop because they're the same Pokemon is I was kind of like, oh, everyone's the same. We're all friends. We shouldn't fight each other. Pokemon the first movie is one I could probably watch this movie like
Right.
2-3 times a year, just out of nowhere. I'm like, I got an hour. Let's fucking watch this. And each time I watch it, I'm like, yeah, that's a good point. It's a really good point. I wish some people would watch this movie right now, just kind of, especially just all the bullshit right now in the news and media and everything. I think it's a very nice thing to hear.
They should make it mandatory. Everybody Sunday, you have to grab one Sunday out of the month, and you have to watch Pokemon. Just
make it the Hunger
skip
Games
everything
required.
until like the beginning of the tournament power of Pokemon, which is like when all the trainers come in, and it's like at that point you have like an hour left of the movie. So.
Yeah. So yeah, after this we see all the Pokemon are still fighting their doppelgangers. Everyone's starting to really just slow down. They're like, now it's slow punches, light headbutts, but Mew and Mewtwo are still going ham. They're bouncing off each other, and this is causing like recoil damage. They're launching Pokemon across the arena, knocking into other ones, and they're like, I'm out of juice. And this is where the trainers are like, there's literally nothing we can do. I don't know how to stop this.
Right.
And Ash is like, I know, I'll just go punch him again. so Ash runs into the middle of two, I assume they're psychic? I don't know what exactly the move is they're using.
So a lot of people speculate it's Shadow Ball and something else.
Right.
The director said they were just
psychic attacks.
They're just psychic attacks. There's never like, oh, it's Aurafear or like it's this. They're just two common
two somethings.
Yeah.
So Ash runs in trying to stop everything. If I throw my body in the middle, nothing will happen. Right? Wrong. Ash gets obliterated by these two attacks, and as we see like the smoke clear and the psychic kind of fade, Ash is just this stone gray figure that collapses to the ground. And our buddy Pikachu runs in and is like, what's wrong with my friend? Something's wrong with my buddy Ash. And he starts shaking him, and he's like, uh-oh. And now when you're like, I cried, I'm like, oh, this is the part.
Yeah.
This shit gets me every fucking time. And now I've stopped actually crying, but I still see it.
I didn't cry at that section, no.
I have never done it.
So it might be because I cried at the other ones.
Who are
so
these
like,
unhuman fucks?
So no. I think it's because I cried at the other two scenes. So I didn't. You know when you cry and you feel better, right? So I think the reason I didn't cry at that one was because I cried twice. Because I cried and paused, and then I cried in the next scene. So by the time I got to this one, like I didn't have that. Like I felt that part's meant to make you feel bad, and I felt bad, but the tears weren't coming out. So I think it's just because the other scenes to me, I already kind of spent my tears on that. I didn't have enough tears for this.
That's fair. I
get that as well. Like the part that made me tear up after watching this as an adult is the part where Pikachu's running up the stairs. I did mention that when we were talking about it earlier, but that gets me to tear up a little bit. Not full on cry, but it's just like it's tough seeing it struggle.
Yeah.
And then the other time I tear up is as soon as bro.
Yeah.
Like, as soon as that kicks in, I'm like, oh no.
There you go. I just like to imagine John being like, nah, some 10-year-old just fucking died, whatever. But then you just see a duck. You just watch a duck get fucking. Oh shit, my headache. It's like, oh, Psyduck.
Also, plot twist, or not plot twist, loophole. Once Misty's Psyduck got slapped twice in the head, everybody should have fucking died. I feel like Misty's Psyduck could probably take out Mewtwo during one of his like little like headache-induced like second powers. 100%, everybody there would have been wiped the fuck out. It would have been like the fucking Phoenix from X-Men in there. But go ahead.
Yeah.
Just so I can clarify, so that way I'm not a monster. As I'm older now, yes, like I do tear up because it's like seeing Pikachu struggle with like the tears and then shocking him and just nothing. That always gets me. But when I was a kid, like my whole thing was whenever I watched a show, I never like the main character. I make it my goal to just not attach myself because I'm like, everybody's going to. Like Yu-Gi-Oh! Growing up, Joey, best fucking character
The worst
in the entire
character
show.
in the fucking show. That's what he likes.
Oh, absolutely. But
That's why I like Mineta so much in My Hero. I think he's
Get
just,
the fuck out. Get out. We're going to finish without you.
Sorry, thank you guys for watching.
So anyway, guys, he left off at...
so like the whole thing was I never attached myself to Ash. So when that moment happened, it didn't hit like it was supposed to because I didn't... Like I was like, okay, it was just Ash.
Sure.
So I feel you on that because I do that with anime a lot where like they kind of shove the main character on your throat. Like you have to like them. I never did that with Pokemon. I actually do like Ash. Once you read the manga and you play the games, you realize that Ash has a role that he plays. He's not meant to be the best. He's literally meant to be you.
Right.
Ash is so the things we're a lot smarter than Ash because we're fucking older.
Yeah.
But when you're a little kid and Ash lets go of Primate, in your mind you're like, oh yeah, that's the right choice. But when you're a teenager or you're an adult, you're like,
Bitch, pick that shit back up. You
when
need
he
that.
when he like Pidgeotto, Butterfree, all those things when you're a little
Yeah,
kid.
Butterfree was that was sad, but I mean, you can live without the Butterfree.
Yeah. But like as a kid, you're meant to like go like, oh, you know what? I will do the same thing. As adults and guys that play competitively at least, you go like, the fuck, my dude, that Primate? Are you off your fucking mind?
I'm still waiting for him to go back and meet that fucker. Like, be
He
like,
made a promise. He made a promise to come back. Ash is a fucking liar. But I'm like you. I normally don't like the main character. Ash was different. Ash was a character that I did enjoy a lot when watching. And I think it's because when you're a little kid, again, you're very relatable because you're like, you don't know shit about Pokemon. And clearly neither does him, even though he's been through multiple regions. So I used to do that with other shows, but I never did it with Pokemon. For me, Ash has always been one of the best written characters. It's just that, lately...
he a bitch.
He a bitch, yeah, like I saw.
Alright, so Ash, Stone Cold, Pikachu's like, how do I fix him? Oh, any other time he's kind of sleeping, I just electrocute him, so let's try that.
Which should have worked because it worked on Golem. So why did Pikachu get that? You're boom!
It's just, oh shit, that wasn't supposed to happen. But yeah, Pikachu's like exhausting whatever energy he has left after getting bodied by his doppelganger. Trying to bring Ash back and just can't, and just starts bawling. And then of course everyone else in the room, exact same way, Pokemon just start shedding tears, rolling down their faces, and we see these little sparkles go across the room. Mewtwo's like, the fuck is going on? What is this bullshittery in front of me?
Exact quote.
What is this?
Exact
A
He's
shonen?
like, what the fuck is going on?
He's like, what is this, a shonen? He's getting a friendship power up?
I thought I turned these powers off. What the fuck is happening? So yeah, he's doing all that, and then one final tear as Pikachu drips down, catches Ash, and Ash is like, I'm good. I'm fine. Everyone's hugging out. Everyone's being happy. Everyone fighting the whole way is like, oh, you're not so bad, buddy. I kind of like you. You're chill. And then Mewtwo's like, you know what? I figured it out. And I quote, a human sacrificed himself to save a Pokemon. I pitted them against each other, but not until they set aside their differences did I see the true power that they share deep inside. And then Mew says, Mew! Which
That was fucking deep.
yeah.
Like that hit different. Hearing that now at my age, it hit different. It was completely-
And Mew says, I see now that the circumstances of one's birth are irrelevant. It's what you do with the gift of life that determines who you are. And Mew wraps it up with a solid meow. And pretty much the bow on the ribbon there. But obviously one of the most memorable, quotable, half memeable things you see on Facebook, where someone posts that and they're like, you know who said that? Not Gandhi,
Yes,
not Martin Luther, fucking Mewtwo and Pokemon said that shit. But yeah, absolutely, I love that line. It was one of the, I always joke, it's like, I'm gonna get that tattooed on my back and just have it always with me in some
I thought about that, so I watched it this week because I got a new tattoo, and I was like, that line from Meowth, the line from Mewtwo, I'm like, I want to put that, but I also don't like the idea of having words.
Sure, right.
If it wasn't so long.
Yeah, if it
I
was,
would like to get. I'd like to get it in some other form though.
just put the same oif, the same
Yeah,
the
like
round
the
it
signs,
down.
the signs that are in stone that say love, live, learn, or
Yeah.
something like that. But with that quote.
Yeah.
That's a good idea. I should talk to
Earth, air.
the same oif, the same air, the same sky. So Mewtwo's finally coming to understand, you know what? I'm a fuck up. I'm sorry. Ash, you as a 10-year-old, you clearly understand everything in the world better than I do, and I can only hope that one day I understand friendship the way you do. So I'm going to take my Pokemon, we're going to go off somewhere and learn, and I'm just going to wipe y'all's memory and say this never happened. So he does that, we spawn back
Which
in
is
the
kind of
Pokemon Center.
fucked up, right? Because
Right.
we and everybody there just learned a huge valuable life lesson and they forgot about it.
Nah, you're good, you don't need to worry about
So
that.
what if this was like what's it called when you travel in time and you create a paradox, right?
Okay.
And like Ash became like a fucking Pokemon beater. Like he just became the worst fucking version of himself because he never learned this lesson. Like Missy's like, Ash, shut the fuck up, bitch. You know what I mean? Like
And then the thing that kills me is like coming off of that, like everybody's like whole thing is they were like yeah, Ash died and all that came back and then Mewtwo did it, so all that stuff just still happened. They just forgot about it, and I'm like, no, we went back to before all this shit happened, so they would still go.
how does the time? So the only thing here is was it time travel?
It has to be.
It has to be because it never
there was
happened.
no storm. New Island didn't exist. No one knew why the fuck they were there. And Nurse Joy was like, "Hey guys,
Yeah,
So
I agree that it's time travel.
Because
So-
it makes no sense because, don't get me wrong, Mewtwo's the motherfucker strong. But I don't know if like psychic power equates to fucking time travel.
So the
Palkia
reason
Dialga? Fuck it.
the reason I don't think it's time travel is because if it was time travel, everybody would have gone back to where they were at that certain point. But we realize Team Rocket is still in that basement. Mewtwo doesn't know they're here. So when he resets everything, they're still on the island alone.
unless he's
There's no
not
one
aware,
there.
unless he's not aware of them, and
Right, but I would think if we rewound time, put everybody back before it happened,
I see
as
what you're
opposed to then Team Rocket would have gone back.
It's just
to
it brings up a lot of questions because at that point, like, yeah, Team Rocket didn't transfer, but what about everybody that stayed at that little
the people that died.
that harbor?
the girl with the pharaoh.
yeah.
She's just
I was gonna
alive
say
again.
she went the other way. She's only like a quarter of the way there.
Actually, she's probably gone. She's probably made it to another city safe.
She's
Not
like,
to
"Oh,
do any of this bullshit.
I found Hoenn, dude.
I
didn't
got
know
an
this was here."
invitation for this place. Where is it?
You didn't give me GPS directions. No, it's weird. I don't know. I feel like that's probably like a plot hole thing where it's. I think you could argue it's time travel. I would argue it's just teleportation with the mind wipe. Like, I'm gonna put you back here, and Mewtwo's like, oh, the bitch you missed. I think it's safe to assume no one actually died at that point.
No, they died. They died.
Unless again, because if they just teleported, it's like I never met the girl with the Firo, so maybe she is dead. I don't know. I don't
She just
know.
lost at sea.
Yes.
I like to think that anybody who Mewtwo didn't make contact with is fucking dead.
Yeah. Okay, that's fair. But yeah, we teleport back to the Pokemon Center. We're at the same, like, it's crowded, there's a storm, you guys can't go anywhere, and then Nurse Joy's there already. She's like, hey, anyone needs a place to stay, follow me. But then the storm clears, and everyone's like, wow, that was nice. And then Ash, staring out over the horizon, looking at this dark cloud fade away, sees a little purple, pink something flying around. And he's like, Ash, what do you see? He's like,
Sork.
Zora, he's just hopping through the clouds.
Or Ditto, he's impossible.
She's like, on the first day of my journey, I saw a very rare Pokemon, and I thought I just saw another one. And Missy's like, I think you're fucking crazy. And Brock's like, maybe he's not. And roll credits. And then we have the beautiful song. Hold on, I wrote it down.
Miracle.
We're a Miracle by Christina Aguilera.
Which is reminiscing, because who do we have now doing a Pokemon song?
Katy Perry.
Katy fucking Perry.
It's this. I will comment that because I watched through the credits and I was like, this is a weird credit sequence in terms of the music that they selected. It just seemed odd to me.
Sure.
Like
it was like the 90s, like, whose name can we get on this? And Christina Aguilera obviously is a good one.
Like that,
one of the
like
biggest ones.
it wasn't like the songs were bad. It was just like, this is a weird mix of songs.
Yeah, it's very like, Pokemon's not known for like the pop, other than the theme.
Mm-hmm.
It's
I
not known
think
for,
they
like,
just
pop.
Americanized it a little bit.
Yeah.
I think 'cause they're not going to put the...
So I'm sure Christina Aguilera wasn't in the Japanese release.
Which I think that was just.
Maybe
like,
she'll sing in Japanese.
I think that was just the trend at the time because Disney did that a lot, where they had, I think it was Mike.
Bill Collin.
Because Michael Bolton did
Hercules.
at the end of Hercules, which I think that was just like the trend is who's a big name, who can we get to do a remix, put it on there.
Yeah.
There's a connection between Disney and Pokemon the first movie, and I have to find it.
Okay.
You said Disney, and I clicked, and I went out of my way to make sure I wrote it in my notes, and I didn't, and I'm kind of mad about it. But there's a connection between Disney.
Well, that's good. That's bad.
That's good.
That's bad.
Wait.
That's 2000. Yeah, I'm not mixing those up. That's 2000.
Yeah, that's 2000.
That is 2000.
There's like the end where Slow
Preview.
breaks the fourth wall.
Ooh, we just spoiled the end of 2000.
I just like how Slow King's at the end of that one. It's just like, yeah, they all saw, and then
Yeah.
just walks in. Oh,
Oh.
so they did see.
Well, that's good.
What happens to the bossies?
That's bad.
If I find it, I'll put it on the.
In the chat.
I'll put it. Yeah, I'll give it to you so you can put it like in the description.
Okay.
But I found a really cool connection between the Pokemon the first movie and Disney.
Okay.
Over some rights or something, and I can't remember what it was, but it had to do with the episode with the Polygon,
Okay.
which held back production of the anime.
Yeah.
And Disney somehow injected themselves into something happened with the release of the movie. And it has to do with Disney. I can't remember what it is.
Okay.
But
Yeah,
if
not
I'm
familiar.
gonna go out of my way to find it, and I'm gonna make sure it's in the video in the description.
Cool. Sweet. I'm sure to do that. And that was the plot of Pokemon the first movie. So now, with a little more context in the story, this is everybody's favorite movie.
Out of all the
That's-
ones up to this
Up
podcast
to this
so far,
point.
yes.
Up to this point.
You just reset it. Okay.
So I will say this. This is not my favorite movie.
Sure. I think for me,
But
it's
if
the
I
one
wanna-
I could rewatch them. You could put this movie on at any point. I'll sit and watch it. But I still don't think it's my favorite. But I will watch it as many times.
So it's not my favorite movie. But I will say it has the best message. It has. I think it has the best plot because it's dealing with a Pokemon that we all love.
Yeah.
Which is Mewtwo. Even though Mewtwo shows up in every fucking gen, they give him whatever the new gimmick is. I'm waiting for us to get a variant of Mewtwo at this point.
Gigantamax Mewtwo.
Yeah.
People want one of your
Actually, do think we're
Charizard
getting
shit
that.
for getting 2 megas. Guess who also did?
Oh, yeah, 'cause-
Mewtwo.
Yeah, but guess who also didn't get a Gigantamax?
Yet.
Tyranitar.
I'm telling you, it's gonna happen. Pokemon revert to like, guys, we're running out of ideas. 800 Pokemon over here. Somebody's like Mewtwo. They're like, God damn it, Carl.
You got a point.
You fucking got it.
Imagine going to a new region and the champion's anchor Pokemon is not something from that region.
So I think that's okay because that's normal trainers because you traveled. The thing is, it could have been Typhlosion.
Yeah.
It could have been Infernape. It could have been Emboar. It could have been any of the other starters. But it's the one that I fucking hate the most, and it's the one that makes it into every media of Pokemon. Whether it's a spin-off fucking game, or whether it's a fucking movie like Detective Pikachu, or it's a fucking mobile game, it's always
Sure.
goddamn fucking Charizard.
Moral of the first movie: we love Charizard, but we also hate him.
Yeah,
This
but
is
yeah,
before we really hated him.
but
Which
yeah,
is
no.
exactly why Danny killed his Caesar in the Soul
Goddamn
Wing,
right.
so
I
that
sacked
way
it
Overhyped would die.
Just to get that piece of shit off our team.
and then
You
he came
got
back.
another one.
So here's what I'll say. It's not my favorite, but it has Mewtwo in it, and this before Mewtwo was like saturated.
Yeah.
I think Mewtwo's the perfect person to have a movie based around. They didn't do it once, but they do it twice, but they did it fucking 3 times.
Yeah.
So I think the plot's nice. I think it has one of the nicer plots. The music hits fucking different in this one. It's very beautiful. And I think that animation-wise, it was flawless. There's no scenes that I looked at and I'm like, whoa, what the fuck happened now?
Yeah.
And overall, are we rating these like on a scale of 1 to 10 or anything?
We will be, because it's week 1, it's number 1. So there's really nowhere to, unless anyone wants to argue that it's, obviously once we get to a certain movie, the way this will work in the future is that I'll have a graphic and we'll have like a list of where we rank them. After this, when we do 2000, we'll decide is 2000 better than the first movie, and that'll decide where it goes on the list. John's already like, nah, you just put that number 26 while we're at it.
Fuck this guy for saying that 2000 is your favorite.
But yeah, so for now, it's a number 1, unless anyone wants to argue that it deserves to be lower because it's that bad.
No,
Yeah,
I'll put these in my top 5.
Okay.
I agree with Princeton when it comes to this movie. Going back and watching it all over again, like my critique for the movie is I feel like there's no, until like the very end of the movie with like Mewtwo himself, I feel like there's no real like growth from a lot of characters.
Okay.
Like
They just kind of exist.
It kind of just happens, and then like there's like something that just happens at the very end, and like there's a lot of memorable quotes and like ideals that happen in the movie, but the overall progress of the story feels a little clustered. And I think that may just be because of it's a product of its time. This movie was only like an hour long.
Right.
So, which surprised me. I was like, this movie, like, we get a movie now, and it's like 3 hours. So,
especially when you watch Black and White Hero back to back.
But I would still say out of the movies that I remember that I've watched, it is still, I still think the third one hits me in a way that this movie didn't for some reason.
Okay. So I'm excited because I have not watched 3. It's probably since I was like 11 years old.
Mm-hmm.
It's been a long time since I've watched 3, and I'm excited to watch it.
I have opinions about 3. I'll save it for that
Okay.
time.
So one of the things.
Is it your 2000?
Chris hates Entei. It's the worst fucking Pokemon ever.
Out of the 3 I've watched, the third is like I have a hard time getting through it because I feel like, and we'll get into it at that point, because the third movie is where I fully believe that's where people just overhype Entei, and people just have their love for him, and I'm like,
My
why?
dude, it's a legendary
That-
fucking
but-
dog.
but-
What do you mean?
That's the crazy thing to me. Mewtwo is my favorite legendary.
Okay.
But the third movie, from what I remember, is still my favorite. I don't really like it. I don't like Entei.
Right.
Fuck the unknown.
Well, yeah,
Listen, the Unknown are the best legendary to ever exist.
because every time I hear somebody reference the third movie, it's always, but Entei, and I'm like, there's 2 other dogs that are drastically cooler than him.
But keep in mind that the other
comes-
2 dogs made it to the anime. The other 2 dogs were actually, like, Raikou was constantly seen in the anime.
Okay.
And
he was like a whole arc of Pokemon Chronicles? Is that
I
what it's
can't
called?
remember, but there's I remember that, and then you have Suicune, who basically had its own movie,
Yeah.
and it was also featured in the anime as well. I can't remember if Entei was featured in the anime. I don't think so, but I know he was in the. I know he was in the.
He might have come up in like a scribe conversation piece, but I don't think he had like an arc or anything. And then all 3 now we're getting way into 3 while we're at it, because technically in 3 that's not Entei, it's an illusion based on Marty.
Papa!
The kid,
Sora.
No, Marty. Whatever the kid's thing is.
Sora.
But in Zoroark we have the actual 3 legendaries, so that's cool. Yeah.
So then to circle back to the first movie, so like I really feel like out of all the Pokemon that they could, I mean obviously Mewtwo was like the best choice because it's something that like a lot of people deal, like everybody deals with it is fine. Like his whole thing is he didn't find his
What's
place.
my purpose? Yeah.
And it's like finding that purpose is something everybody struggles to find. And like especially because at the beginning he was told that he was made to be used. Giovanni used him, so like everybody's had run-ins where they've had people misguide them, and then it was Mewtwo doing that whole thing where he was like, "Fuck it, I'm just gonna do my own thing." But then seeing the sacrifice that Ash made, like he was like, "This is something I'm not used to." Not all people are like that. I can't judge everybody based off of one experience I've had.
Yeah.
So it was nice to see that growth, even if it was like just like, oh fuck, dude, that was just like one time on both sides. I'm just not the like it like the pacing, like Shuriblur was saying, like if they would have had like more time, like if it was made later, they could easily write in some like other stuff. But I really feel like Mewtwo was definitely like the best one to have that.
Yeah. For sure.
Yeah.
Especially
I would recommend this movie to people that don't watch Pokemon.
Yeah, 100%. Yeah.
Be like, I know you may not like the context, but just listen to what the message of this, what some of these characters are saying.
There's also one of my favorite spin-off games for the N64. It came out
Puzzle League.
2 years after the movie came out, and when you go through the story mode, which story mode is just there's no cutscenes, it's just the characters like, here's a paragraph of text. One of the things that you go against is through the whole story, you go through like Ash's adventures, and the last enemy, it's actually Mewtwo himself.
Okay.
And the cybernetic elf.
That's
just
dope.
dope.
That's
So the game completely takes place, and this spin-off game takes place during Ash's adventures, and it ends with Mewtwo because that's where the anime was at the time.
Sure.
And it was pretty neat. It was pretty cool. But above all, they had the music from the movie. Some of the music from the movie actually made it into the game.
That's so cool.
Which is no Pokemon game has ever
Christina
done that.
Aguilera.
She didn't make it, but all the other music made it. And this is the first time where a Pokemon game uses the music from the actual
That's dope.
universe.
Hey, I've never played Puzzle League. I'm not.
It's pretty good. It's just Puyo Puyo.
Yeah, just give me a remake.
Yeah.
right after you gave me Pokemon Pinball, because like, what the fuck? Where's my next Pokemon Pinball?
I don't want that shit.
I want Pokemon Pinball. Give it to me on Switch. All right, now, obviously each week we'll rank these, we'll put them in place. Pokemon, the first movie, being the only one so far, will be at number 1. And then as the weeks go, we'll plop these guys in where they belong, what's better, what's worse, where it belongs in between, until we build an entire list of these Pokemon movies and see which one we, as a crew, think is the best, is the worst, is in the middle. But, as another fun little thing I thought would be enjoyable, I haven't really thought this out too much. We'll see how it goes. But, I want to do like a Pokemon poll challenge. So basically the rules is each of us will go down the line. I'll start because it's my show. We'll each get to pick one Pokemon that existed in this movie. And then as this episode drops on YouTube, I'll put a poll out on Twitter that'll last for the week. And then whichever Pokemon has the most votes, that person will earn a point. So, only other rule is Pikachu is the wild card. It exists once, period. So first come, first serve. Whoever snags Pikachu is done.
For all films.
For all films.
Okay.
So if today Chris decides I want Pikachu as my nominee, Pikachu is done for the rest of the podcast series.
Okay.
So Pikachu's gonna be that, like, when do you use it? When is it gonna be? And then as each episode goes, so today I'll pick first, then we'll go Dante, Chris, John.
Okay.
And then 2000 we'll start with Dante, so that way each person has a chance to pick first. So as you go in and watch the movie, think like, is this guy hype? Is this guy like right now? I'm still like, as I talk, I'm buying time to be like, fuck, I still don't know who to pick. But yeah, it's like I said, the Twitter poll will come out as that ends. For context of the viewers, because we're probably filming these 2 at a time each time we do this. You won't see the results until Pokemon the third movie. So we'll do first movie and 2000, and then those polls will come out respectively. And then in episode 3, we'll say episode 1 was this, episode 2 was this, and then we'll keep a tally of who has the most points at the end. And I didn't really come up with a prize, so maybe we'll think of something, or I don't know, we'll fucking see. But
Stop stalling for time and tell us your Pokemon.
I'm really
He's trying
struggling.
to stall for time because he doesn't know what to pick.
I'm really struggling. So obviously my mind's like, I should go with Mewtwo. It makes so much sense to pick Mewtwo. But then it's like, who's going to see this? Is this going to be just our fans? Is this going to bring in people like, Pokemon Charizard? Like, it's tough. It's really tough. And I think, son of a bitch. I should go with Psyduck, really.
I mean, you have John's vote.
Yeah, you'll probably have my vote.
I get John's vote. He got Psyduck. That's a guaranteed one. I'm going to go with it. I'm going to go with my gut. I'm going to go with Mewtwo. I'm going to snag Mewtwo for this one.
All right.
So all of
So
us have to pick
does that
separate?
mean you can't pick
Yes,
Mewtwo?
all of us have separate. So
Does
I have
that mean
Mewtwo.
that you can't pick Mewtwo for the other 2 movies you said?
Well, he's not.
Not necessarily.
Okay.
Okay, what about Meowth? Because Meowth is in every movie.
Yeah, Pikachu is the only one that's not repeated.
Okay.
So Pikachu is the only one that has the one-time use.
Okay.
If he picks Meowth now, no one else can pick Meowth this episode.
Okay.
But in the next movie, since he goes first, regardless, basically priority goes to whoever goes first.
Okay.
So yeah, if Mewtwo shows up in Genesect and whatever else, yeah, you can pick Mewtwo again. He's not limited, just Pikachu.
Okay. So my choice then, I think I'm gonna just kind of go chaotic with this because I'm not sure if my picks will ever necessarily win. But I want to bring justice to Alakazam in this movie, who did feature a very brief moment in the beginning, getting like slaughtered by Mewtwo. And then was very wrongly misinterpreted to be a Scyther later on in the movie. So my pick is on Alakazam. Justice for Alakazam. Hashtag.
So then, because Daniel took what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
No, I'll just go with the other one. I'll just go with Meowth because like both of them had like very deep quotes, but it was much like it was like mentioned earlier. It was very nice to see somebody that like, you could see like always kind of like getting in the protagonist's way.
Yeah.
Say something like that because like it. I mean, honestly, like it just brings more depth to it, and to see like of all things like a Pokemon, which you always see fighting, battling, just because trainers say so. Like to hear that. It had a very powerful moment within it, especially because I don't think they squared up, but then like they're like there's no point.
The same.
I'm just gonna go for Squirtle because
Okay.
Squirtle fucked up that Machamp, so I can't let that
You're
one
not
go.
wrong.
So I have to go Squirtle. He was my first Pokemon, my starter Pokemon. So I was like, fuck it, I'll go with Squirtle. And I feel confident.
I'm just glad none of us picked Dragonite. The Dragonite that got stuck by a frying pan.
Yeah.
Well, like I'm just saying, it's between Meowth and Golem because let's be
Yeah,
honest,
the real
that man,
MVPs.
that's justice for Golem. That should not have killed him.
But yeah, as these go, like obviously in this one we have a lot fewer like world building Pokemon. Like we have like a Spearow that's screaming and Eradicate and an Electabuzz or something at the beginning. Like any Pokemon, if you see it in this movie, it's allowed. Now whether that's best strategically, debatable. But yeah, so like arguably, like if you see it in there, you're like, I want to pick this one. Sure, sounds good. As long as you can be like, it was in the movie. Like I honestly forgot Alakazam's at the beginning. I was gonna allow it because they just fucking said his name and fucking up his Scyther. Yeah. So there you guys go. So this Twitter poll will be out. If you're seeing this episode, the Twitter poll should be out. Go pick. No, I didn't really think this through. If it's gonna become a favorites thing, where it's like, what was Princeton's? All right, Squirtle. So I guess pick your favorite Pokemon. I guess so. You have Mewtwo, Alakazam, Meowth, and Squirtle. And then next week we'll have another poll for 2.
Pick a Pokemon that if you were cornered and there's a Machamp about to fuck you up, pick a Pokemon that you know has experience taking down Machamp.
So
I'm not trying to get you guys to vote for Squirtle. I'm just saying there's evidence.
There's
we don't know if
real
Mewtwo can
evidence.
beat a Machamp.
I'm just saying, out of all the Pokemon picked, John picked the only one that was a criminal.
I mean, Mewtwo murdered some people. I think he's technically
Did he have a warrant?
probably.
The Squirtle Squad did.
He was a capo. He's like, you come
Yeah,
to
I
me.
mean, I don't think anybody is looking. I don't think anybody is looking for the scientists that got demolished in the beginning of the movie.
Oh man. But yeah, guys, that was our first episode of Pokemon Gotta Watch 'Em All. Thank you all so much for watching. Please do me a favor, hit the thumbs up below. It helps spread the video, helps more people see it, and we can keep talking about these Pokemon movies week to week. Now, you guys already plugged yourself at the beginning, but I'm gonna have a cool little lower thirds with their link. Be sure to check these guys out on their social medias, their Twitters, their YouTubes, their Instagrams, their Pornhubs, their OnlyFans, whatever. You're gonna check those things out. Drop a follow. John, you remind me of that Machamp that got fucking bodied by the Squirtle.
Sorry, I just didn't want to bring the gun show. Well, where's that Squirtle at?
And if it's your first time checking out the content, if you want to stick around and see some more, do yourself a favor, hit the subscribe button and the notification bell. That way you get notifications every time a new video comes out.
Hit that bell.
And
Danny, animate it.
okay.
Everybody punches, so he has to do it.
I'm just going to put an obnoxious ringing every time someone punches. Okay. We'll see you guys next time.